It's December
right here,
8th,
too.
2024. It's December 8th, 2024. I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, the human Christmas tree. Yes, sir. He's in the spirit of Christmas, all lit up. Okay. That sweater was sent yesterday from Mrs. Chadwick from Concord, New Hampshire. So there we go. Thank you.
What was that?
Miss Chadwick, she sent you that shirt, that sweater.
Yeah, I sent her a thank you note, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, Senator, thank you.
I will, yeah.
She's lit up like a Christmas.
He's lit up like a Christmas
A
tree.
human Christmas.
How'd she know me?
Probably hearing your talks every night. You did over 300 podcasts. A lot of people listen to them. And there's a lot of subscribers. They listen.
There's still the lights.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Before I open up the book, what's your dog tag number?
42965.
Okay, that's the passcode to open the book. We're in a brand new chapter. We're on chapter 22, which is Wedding Jitters and a New Life. Chapter 22, Wedding Jitters and a New Life, page 667. So, welcome to this chapter. Mr. Jeckovich is a World War II veteran from Company H, 2nd Battalion, 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. So here we go, and thank you, Miss Chadwick. We did not stay long at the Colonial Inn, and right after the usual midnight ritual of horns and shouting, we left. At the parking lot, we said our goodbyes and parted company shortly thereafter. This is just an update. You're at New Year's Eve with Delphine and Rosalie and Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We left Rosalie and Eddie on a friendly terms, and I do not believe they realized the negative impression they created with us. Why they leave a negative impression?
The what?
You said Rosalie and Eddie did not realize what a negative impression they left with you. Why did they leave a negative impression?
Well, Eddie, that's all he talks about is cars.
Okay.
He knows nothing about cars.
Okay. All right.
Rosalie and Eddie, yeah.
Yeah. Even after we were married and they would visit us several times, we still felt the same toward them. Eventually, Delphine drifted away from Rosalie. We did not have one reunion. We did have one reunion several years later after we were married, but it did not materialize to any sort of friendship, and that was the last time we saw either one of them. Delphine never saw Agnes after she left the store. While Rosalie did bring up the date regarding Agnes from time to time, she too drifted away and was eventually forgotten. Delphine was more affected by the sudden severing of her relationships with Agnes than she was with Rosalie, and she thought Agnes had more to give up, being all alone and with no real friends. Since there was no way we could remedy the situation, Delphine had finally accepted the reality of it and slowly put Agnes out of her mind. You want anything to add to this?
Agnes?
Anything to add to what I read so far?
No.
The Horrobs. Who's the Horrobs?
The what?
The Horrobs. Who's the Horrobs?
The Horrobs, Senator Horrobs, yeah.
Who are they?
The people lived upstairs.
Okay. The Horrobs moved out right after the first of the year to their temporary quarters as their house was being built down the street. After our marriage, Delphine became friendly with both of them and would stop and talk at length when she would meet them in the neighborhood. We would eventually stay longer in the apartment than the Horrobs did. Even after they both passed away, we would still be there. The first thing I did after they moved out was to assess the condition of the apartment. I found that all the rooms had to be painted. While they were not bad, I thought it's best to freshen them up. Who did all the painting?
I did, yeah.
The Delphine paint?
No.
The floor in the kitchen had to be replaced, as did the bathroom floor, which needed it badly. I wanted to do something with the kitchen cupboards, but the time constraints did not permit that to take place. We would have to settle for the slight improvements and decide that we wanted what we wanted to do, if anything. Delphine concurred with my evaluation, and she did not mention that we had a lot to do and there was very little time to accomplish it. I agreed with her, and I said I would start working upstairs immediately. She wanted to know where she could come to help, and I stated whenever she could get off from work. She would take a bus from Buffalo, and I would meet her at the Buffalo Avenue as before. I told her that we had about 50 days to complete everything and move our furniture in the apartment before the wedding. She was dismayed at the shortness of time and was apprehensive about completing everything in the time for the wedding. I attempted to reassure her, but my own actions tainted my convictions, and I do not believe I convinced her. She was skeptical and kept repeating that we would never finish in time and wanted to take off from work to help me, which I was against. I was working afternoons, which would not afford me about 6 hours to work upstairs before going to work. There were no more than one at home during the day, and therefore I would have ultimately interruptions to hamper my progress. I calculated that by completing a room every 2 days, which included coats of paints and sealing walls and woodwork, I would conclude that painting in about 2 weeks, which would take me back on midnights, the worst time to do anything. I would see Delphine that night and give her a progress report. I had been at it for several days and completed one small bedroom and started a larger one that morning. When I saw her that evening, she looked alluring and enticing, perked me up, and after being cooped up by myself all day painting. She was sympathetic, and I felt bad that she was not helping out, and she felt bad she was not helping out. I took her arm as she walked to the car, and it seemed that the entire perspective of our relationship had changed. Where areas before we talked only in generalities, now we had something specific to relate to and some goal-oriented objectives. We no longer mused over where to go and what to do before we realized that we were in the Red Devil waiting for our dinner and still discussing our tasks ahead. So what did you have to do to that apartment to get it ready? What are all the
And
things?
change the rugs,
What else?
do the painting, do some work in the kitchen, the cupboards had to go out.
Did you get it on time done by the way?
Oh, yeah.
So everything worked out fine.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty big job?
Well, I was working alone, and that would help me.
How'd your mother like the finished product?
Well, my mother was excited about it because the Delphine was going to move in.
But your mother liked how you did the job.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. It was gratifying and uplifting, for we now are doing something constructive and directly related to our future. I wanted to check out some flooring material I had seen at one of the stores on Main Street, and we went there directly after dinner. I related to Delphine that it would be the best if we had someone to do the floors in the kitchen and the bathroom, providing we could obtain a reasonable price. She listened attentively, but made no direct comment, and I took it as a reluctance to say anything regarding money matters. As she was not contributing money, she did not have any significant savings available to aid us in our home furnishings, and was thereby non-committal in many aspects of it. So did the tile, you hire someone else to do?
What?
You said the tiled floor in the bathroom, did you hire someone else to do it, or
No, I did it. No.
did you hire someone else to lay the carpet?
No.
You laid
I
the,
know I had Mendelssohn that come to do that.
they laid the carpet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My attempts to alleviate her feelings regarding this matter were mostly unsuccessful, and it was difficult for me, as I wanted her input on her preferences on everything we selected. I did not want it to be one-sided with me making all the determinations just because I was paying for them. I believe this is why she wanted to help out at the department, so that she could feel she was contributing to our total effort. I knew she felt better when she was participating rather than accepting blindly what was being offered to her. I was certain that this was one of the most difficult adjustments she had to make, even more difficult than leaving of her past life and moving away from unfamiliar surroundings. Even though she was amenable and steadfast, she had this one persistent trait of not accepting anything she herself did not earn. She wanted to do her share, and sometimes more, before she accepted anything or was a part of a larger issue. We found some flooring material which seemed suitable for the apartment, and I ultimately got an opinion from Delphine on what she liked. It took some effort, but she finally conceded an opinion, and I agreed with her decision. I would take our selection back to a local flooring contractor in the falls and see what kind of price he would come up with. It would be nice if we could get the floors in by next week, and preferably before Delphine came down for her first working visit. So how'd the floors turn out?
Good. The floors were out good, yeah.
So now you got new floors and new carpet.
Yeah.
It was almost 10 p.m. before we left Main Street area, and we stopped at your host for some coffee. As we sat there, we both had our distant impression that the entire scenario that was such an integral part of our courtship days was fast coming to a conclusion. We would no longer seek solace at the local your host, nor would we frequent the now familiar places on Main Street in Buffalo. We would miss the Red Devil and the Red Inn, but vowed to return at a future date. We never did. As we contemplated all of this, Delphine became misty-eyed, and I knew she would miss all of this, and I realized for the first time that it was she who was making all the large leaps to a new life rather than I. Minutes, please. For her to feel apprehensive about not contributing was ludicrous, and there was no justification for concern. After all, she was giving up the life she knew for the unknown and all its subtle ramifications. So when you moved into the house, everything was ready.
Yeah.
Did you have to get a new refrigerator and
Oh, yeah.
you had to get a new refrigerator?
Stove.
Stove. Did you install that?
The stove we did, yeah, and refrigerator, they just brought it in.
So once you got back to the honeymoon, you went right upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Did her mother and father come visiting a lot?
The what?
Did Delphine's mother and father come visit a lot?
No. What, they just started out, then they came with the weekend, then they'd start tapering off.
How about Delphine's sisters?
Well, his sister lived in Washington.
How about she had two sisters? How about the other sister?
The young one?
Yeah, did she come up a lot?
No, she didn't know. She got her own girlfriends. She was a younger kid.
How about her brother Bob? Did he come up a lot?
No.
He didn't come up at all, huh? Oh, did you go there and visit much?
The mother and father over in Buffalo?
Yeah.
We went there probably for Christmas, and then we went for their anniversary or something. That was it.
Okay. We're doing great, I stammered, sitting up and peering out the window. It was snowing harder now, large puffy snowflakes drifting onto the wet street and pavement, melting as it hit the surface. What if it's snowing on the 23rd of February, she murmured, thrusting her head back into my shoulder. I was not concerned at what she said, knowing that it would be perfect day with no snow. You've got pre-wedding jitters, I explained, taking her in my arms and kissing her. She clung on to me and I could feel I held her, not saying anything. After a while, she released her hold on me and sat quietly in her seat, watching the snowflakes drift down to the pavement. I wanted to bolster her spirits before I had to leave, but I did not know how to do it. I took her hand and pressed on the engagement ring she was wearing and began to roll my fingers over it. She turned to me and whispered, "Well, we'll be all right, don't you think so?" With that, she picked up her arms around me and held me tightly. "I think the floor we picked out," she stated. "I hope that I hope you find the same pattern in the falls." I had found a flooring contractor who would do the floors with same material we selected in Buffalo. The price was reasonable and acceptable. I called Delphine the next day to tell her the details. She listened attentively, and when I finished, she informed me that her father knew of a flooring contractor who would do it for just the cost of materials as sort of a wedding present. So did the father's friend do the floor?
Yeah,
Yes? Did Delphine's father's friends?
did the floor,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's nice. Okay. Delphine was excited that she contributed something of substance
11.
To the apartment and that she had saved us a considerable sum of money. I was also happy that she would see the apartment the following weekend with so much accomplished, including new flooring she had taken a major part in. The day after the new flooring was installed, Mother began making subtle innuendos that I was neglecting some of my work downstairs. So even though you're getting ready for your wedding and working very hard to refurbish the upstairs apartment when you're going to move into after the honeymoon,
Yeah.
your mother's now saying you're neglecting your work at the rest of the house.
Yeah. You love to go through the work.
How can that be? How can that be? Oh, Lord. I knew she must have realized that we're pressed for time to get everything completed before the wedding, but all my fears came rushing back as she pressed on with her assertions. I could see that she was slowly reverting to her old self. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She's slowly reverting to her old self, right?
Yeah.
Time out. Okay. Once again, using any type of subterfuge to gain control of the situation, I suddenly realized that we would be dependent on her in many ways. We would be living in her house, and even though we were to pay the same rent to Hormsad, we would not have the same independence they enjoyed. Okay. Delphine would be subject to her actions, which with very little to ward it off. Her personality being such that she would not confront Mother under any circumstances. Although she would be with Mother for periods of time when I'd be working and not cognizant of my mother's behavior. I am sure Delphine would not relate my mother's shortcomings to me, but would handle the situation as best as she could. As I worked upstairs alone, almost all the ideas and thoughts came rushing back to me. Had we made the wrong decision, and should we instead struck out on our own, free of anyone and thinking only of ourselves and a life together? I still clung on to the perception of my responsibility to my mother and its aftermath. If I did not pursue this course, I had conceived for myself, and now Delphine as well. I resolved not to inform Delphine regarding my mother. Instead, I would try to create a positive image towards the situation. All the backfeelings and trepidations I had during my service came back to haunt me. Was I right then in not bringing Anne to visit on my furlough and all that would have entailed? So were you right for not bringing Anne with you?
Right, that was right, yeah.
How would your mother have took Anne if you came
She wouldn't.
on your furlough, right?
Yeah.
Had I forgotten so soon what capabilities of my mother and how manipulative she could be?
Yeah.
Was she very manipulative?
Yeah.
What possessed me to bring Delphine into this environment, surrounded by Mother? I came to realization that it would be a continuing problem as well as apprehensive, so how it would affect all of us. The house in Edwardsville we had looked at several months ago was pretty compelling at this time.
$36,000.
Yeah. So now you're thinking about the house because your mother's starting to say, well, you're not working hard enough. You're saying, what the hell? I've got a deadline and you want me to go.
Yeah. Well, it worked out.
It worked out. That's right. That's all that counts. The new flooring was considerable improvement from what I had been, and I could hardly wait for Delphine to see it. I had completed the painting of the 2 bedrooms and almost finished the living room, with only one trim to do. I was pleased with the progress, which made and hoped would be finished way before the wedding. If only we did not have this cloud of Mother's attitude hanging over us constantly. I had brought Delphine into this hostile situation like a lamb to slaughter.
Yeah.
Wow. Like a lamb.
Well, that didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out that way.
No.
You were just concerned it might, but it worked out the opposite.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Delphine would be coming by bus on my day off, and we would have the entire day to ourselves until Mother and Sally arrived home. I could not wait to see her reaction to all that had been accomplished since she was there during Christmas. I wanted desperately to finish painting the living room and started on the dining room before she came, even if it meant painting after I arrived home after midnight.
I had Looky helping me, but he couldn't do the trim he couldn't make the trim between the wall and the ceiling.
Why not?
He couldn't match it in. So I had to go back to zero it in. But he helped, yeah.
So he helped, that was good.
Yeah.
That was very good. But he wasn't much of a painter, I take it.
Well, he couldn't cut the ceiling in, no.
Is that hard to do?
Well, the ceiling was white and the walls were green.
Oh, wow.
So I said, just turn your brush, take a little paint in it, and then just swish it in the can, and then just go real lightly over it.
Uh-huh.
And if you're steady enough, you make the match.
Otherwise,
He couldn't do it though. He couldn't do it.
the white would have stuck out on the green.
Yeah.
So did you have to redo all his work?
Well, he didn't do it after. I said, "Don't do it, Dave. I'll do it." Tell him I did.
Well, that was very nice that he came to help you.
Yeah.
And so he was living downstairs at the time, right?
Yeah.
And how many years did he live downstairs for before he moved out?
Well, he got in the Coast Guard, and he moved out then.
Oh, I see. Okay. Minutes, please. 3.
3.5.
I wanted desperately to finish painting the living room, and I started on the dining room before she came, and it meant painting after I arrived home from work by midnight. So you had to do almost a complete remodel upstairs.
Yeah.
Where were you getting your supplies from?
Lowe's.
And what did you pick up your supplies in? Did you have a truck? Or did you have a Volkswagen?
No, I could take a couple gallons of paint in the car.
I see. And so,
I had that big truck. Yeah, I had an International. Yeah.
and what about doing the kitchen? Did you remodel the kitchen before you moved in?
I took the old wooden cupboards up, put there were metal covers. I put wooden cupboards in there.
Did you put a big fan in the hallway?
I put a big 36-inch fan in the hallway.
Was that before your wedding or after?
That was before.
Before.
We cracked the windows and get some fresh air in.
So you got a lot of fresh air in.
Well, I mean, I picked up what you picked up through the windows. Yeah.
When you were remodeling the upstairs, was Belinsky's house there yet?
No, it was a field there. I was wondering what he was going to do. What he did, he shoved me a 3-foot barrier between us, and took the other side all full of his grass.
So when you were remodeling upstairs, you had a view of fields, and you didn't have no house next to you, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, you can come in.
Minute 36. Go ahead.
You can come in, it's great. We have a minute 36.
It's always me.
All right. What do you got for me?
I got your eloquence.
Just one?
Just one.
How you doing today?
I can't complain.
I
How are
like
you?
your style.
Thank you.
I like your style.
Thank you.
Ah,
Here you go. How y'all doing? I love your sweater, Mr. John. You like
I
that?
like it, huh?
yeah.
Look at it, lights
Where
up.
did y'all find that? That's nice.
A lady sent them this. Her name was, let's see, Mrs. Chadwick from Concord, New Hampshire sent them that.
Wow.
So that was a human Christmas tree.
That's nice. And so where are the gifts? You got to put the gifts?
Yeah.
Where are the gifts at? Let's see the gifts
I
right
can
up
see him
under
go
you.
outside and walking in the dark in it.
Right.
And
Thank you,
it
Mr.
has
John.
mode to
Thank you,
flash.
thank you.
It's really
He has
nice.
a mode
Wait,
to
wait,
flash
let me
too.
fix
Really?
it. Watch.
Let's do the flash.
Let's see.
What do you do?
You're a flashing.
No.
Yeah, turn those off, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Good.
Wait. There.
There you go.
I don't want to blink it, come on.
There you go.
I'm not going to fall asleep with this thing
I want you to
blinking.
walk down the highway with it.
Yeah.
How many lights on it? Oh, the whole sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's nice little, what is it, Christmas sweater, like,
Yeah.
y'all wear the best sweater.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
interrupt
you.
y'all again.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's all
bye-bye.
right. I guess we'll pick this up tomorrow.
We went through the time.
Yeah, we're